Dale Barks here. Shane's behind the camera today, at least for the first bit. I'm in front. But we're going to open this episode with a joke. Well, two jokes actually. First one will be a Barks joke. Second one will be a Trapper joke. So the Barks joke. If you're driving down Main Street in your motorboat and the wings fall off, then how many monkeys does it take to kick the seeds out of watermelon? 9. Because chickens don't have lips, and it depends how deep the puddle is. And if you come up with a better answer than that, please let me know. I've been looking for a better answer for a long time, because that one really sucks. Okay, sorry about that. But before we get to the second joke, actually, I'm just going to explain things here. You'll notice we're not in our log cabin right now. We came out for Christmas. We're at our parents' farm cabin right now for Christmas. We're heading back up tomorrow morning. So the rest of the episode will be shot back at the cabin. The first little bit we had to do here right now. Second joke, trapping joke. How do you skin a porcupine? Now normally the punchline would be very, very carefully. But in this case, we're actually going to show you how to skin a porcupine. Sometimes we do unfortunately get animals that are not the target animals. We were not trying to get a porcupine. But we also don't let things go to waste when we can help it. And it turns out the porcupine is actually a very good meat. So we're going to skin this sucker. And we're going to cook them back up at the cabin and show you a great recipe. So if you ever end up with a porcupine, you know what to do with it. But first, I'm going to just show a couple of cool things about these porcupines. Now the first that I didn't really realize, well I knew about but I hadn't really looked at before, is their soft belly. I mean everyone knows about porcupines and quills and you don't want to get stuck with them, but their belly has no quills whatsoever. Super soft actually. Kind of feels like, I don't know, wolf hide. No quills at all, which lets fishers get in underneath them. Fishers love eating these things. And they get in underneath, get the soft belly where there's no quills, and they'll bite them through there and kill them. They normally do get the odd quill, though, messing around. So be careful if you ever stroke a fisher, you'll get quilled. And the next is, well, they've got cool little paws with really tough feet. They're made for climbing trees. They've got the claws for climbing trees, and the teeth for climbing trees as well, for eating trees. You'll see sometimes bark peeled off of birch trees and sometimes some evergreens, and that's because these things like to climb up and just peel the bark off. They'll leave most of the tree, just peel all the bark off them, which can give these guys a kind of a unique flavor. Birch is much better than something that's been eating evergreens its whole life. Porcupines don't shoot their quills, contrary to popular opinion. They're really, really loose, so it doesn't take much contact to break them loose. So, there's one right there. Very sharp. They got little barbs on the end that are really nasty to get out of your skin. And they can swing their tail like a club, and there's a lot of quills on the tail. And then they've got this really thick fur on the back. It's almost like buffalo hair, it looks like. But super soft, but you don't want to rub your hands on there because there's, I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of little quills underneath there. Maybe not hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands. Either way, you don't want to get your hand in them. So, that's most of the cool things about these guys. I'm going to work on skinning them right now. So, you start just like you do any other fur bearer, right up the back legs. Just be really careful of the quills. That's the only difference between this and any other fur bearer. You are going to get hurt really badly if you're not careful. Now, this isn't my first experience with a porcupine. When I was about 6 or 7, Shane and I, we lived on a different farm, farther to the south, and Mom and Dad had a bunch of building supplies laying around, including a bunch of old plywood. And we got the idea one day that if we leaned these two sheets of plywood together, they kind of formed a tent, it would make an awesome place to sleep in. And it did. It was kind of late in the fall, it was getting a little chilly. So we spent the night in there, all curled up in our blankets. About 2 in the morning, I rolled over, and man, my head started hurting. I thought for a second, well, for a while actually, that I'd rolled over the wrong way and ended up brushing my head against the rough side of the board, and that I'd gotten some splinters. So I reach up and I yank one out. I kind of rolled it around between my fingers, and I wasn't feeling like a splinter. It was too round. So I reached for a flashlight and turned it on. There's one of these suckers, curled up on my pillow, in between Shane and I, kind of looking at me a little reproachfully, like I'd woken him up and he wasn't real thrilled about it. No, I wasn't real thrilled about that either. So I lean over to Shane and I'm like, "Shane, wake up, but don't move. There's a porcupine right by your head." And he didn't really appreciate being woken up. He tells me, "Shut up, there's no porcupine." He opens one eye, and the porcupine is right there, 2 inches from him, looking him in the eye. He looks up and he sees I've got these porcupine quills in my head. And we knew we had to do something. I couldn't really go back to bed with them, so we snuck inside. I was really reluctant to wake Mom and Dad up. I thought I was going to get in trouble for some reason. Knock on the bedroom door. "Mom and Dad, would it be okay if you get up and pull the porcupine quills out of my head?" And, I mean, you can imagine the panic that creates at 2 in the morning. Mom jumps out of bed, frantic. She's turns on the lights and she's asking Dad, what do we do? What do we do? And Dad says, "Okay, the first thing you do, get the camera, because this is never going to happen again. This is a one-shot chance." So, thankfully they did. Grab the camera. And we got pictures. I had 25 of them right in the top of my head. We headed for the bathroom, and they started pulling them out. And here's a helpful tip. If you need to pull them out, you're supposed to cut the tip first, and it decompresses the barbs, in theory. We did not do that, and they still come out. It just hurts like the dickens when you pull them out. Every time it pulled, I'd go up on my tiptoes and until Dad finally got it out. And not an experience I would recommend, but definitely a good story. Like I said, it's not my first experience with a porcupine. I'm hoping to finish this job with less quills, though. That would be ideal. We're just going to fast track some of this skinning. Basically, you do it like you do any other fur bearer. Just case skin it very carefully. And you work your way. Ooh, quill number 1. Ouch. Like I said, be very careful. I've got 24 to go, though, to beat my record, so I'm probably not going to make it to my record. I sure hope I don't make it to my record. Yeah, sorry. So we're going to fast track some of the skinning. And there you have it. A nice field-dressed porky pig. But he's all clean, field-dressed. We're going to let him cool overnight, and we're going to cook him as soon as we get back up to the cabin. So, stay tuned. We'll see you there. Made it up to the cabin last night. We got some porcupine to cook. We're excited about that. There was a little incident last night. We'll explain later. Suffice it to say right now, we don't have quite as much porcupine as we'd hoped to cook. But it's going to be plenty to give us a taste, let us know how to cook it, and to show you guys how we cook it. So you just cube the pieces into nice little edible chunks and throw those in the frying pan. We've also got the liver here, if you see that on the plate. We're not huge liver guys. We may cook it, we may not. We're still deciding on that. You want to be careful. You're spitting some oil at this point, and you get the odd flame coming up that shouldn't be there. Makes cooking a little more exciting. And we're going to mix it up. We're going to put some seasoning salt. Taco seasoning. Now, taco seasoning it's not actually a normal mainstay for trapping cabins, but it's a really good addition to meat. And that's really all there is to it. We're just going to let this heat up, and we'll get back to you as soon as it's ready to eat. The meat is cooked. It's a little smoky in here. Got to be careful when you're using oil and fatty meat. You'll get some flames that you aren't expecting, but everything's good.
Be careful when Dale's cooking, basically.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that too. But we got the meat. There's not as much as we had hoped. I guess we'll give the explanation for that now. So apparently porcupine is very popular amongst animals. It was left outside to freeze for one night, about 15 feet from the cabin, and when we went out to get it, it was eaten. except for
We
the front
salvaged
arm.
one front leg.
One front leg and the liver.
Yes.
That's all we saved. And it turns out there's been a lynx through. He's been, well, basically 10 feet from our front door. So make a note of that. If you get a porcupine and you want to eat it, you might have to fight off the lynx. Anyway, here is our porcupine. One of these pieces is liver. I did not mark which it was. Neither of us likes liver. So
I'm gonna start with a little piece.
I'm going to start with a big piece. I'm brave. Just going to remind everyone here, there's two types of porcupine. The ones that have been eating aspen trees, which is supposed to be nice and sweet, and the ones that have been eating pine trees, which are not sweet. We're not sure which this is.
Wow. No taste to that one except seasoned salt.
Nothing at all. That's really good. I'd say he was eating aspen. That's good meat. I would highly suggest eating the next porcupine you get. I would highly recommend against picking it off the side of the road in the middle of summer.
That's not what we did.
That is not what we did. This is fresh and it's winter.
It tastes like almost a cross between pork and deer.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fatty. It's a little bit sweet.
Yeah.
But I don't taste any pine there. We did soak it. We didn't show this on camera, but we soaked it overnight in salt water. And there was a big difference in the smell from when it went in and when it came out. Make a note of that too. If you're going to cook porcupine, you have to fight off the lynx and soak it in salt water. I think that's the liver.
I think so. I'll cut it in half. Yep,
All right.
that's the liver.
I've never actually eaten any liver before.
I have. Wasn't real great.
Good place to start with porcupine liver.
Cheers. Definitely a stronger taste than the other pieces.
Maybe a little. I thought it was good. I like that.
Not a fan. I can eat it if I have to, but
Interesting fact, you can actually eat porcupine liver. You can eat it raw.
porcupine sushi.
That's right. Again, I probably wouldn't recommend that unless you're really in a survival situation.
That's that then.
That's that. That's good. So, porcupine. That's a
I'd
good
say
meat.
thumbs up. Yeah.
Yeah. So, next porcupine we find, they're on the menu from now on.
Or bait if the lynx gets to it first. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was quite the experience for us. First time skinning a porcupine, first time eating it. We've learned lessons like be careful with stabbing your finger while skinning and don't leave it outside for the lynx to get to. But hopefully you guys enjoy this and hopefully you guys want to see more. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. In the comments if you have any questions or if you have any personal experiences with this and want to share, by all means, go right ahead. We'd love to hear you guys' stories as well.
Let us know what the weirdest thing is that you've eaten.
Yeah.
Oh, and if you have any suggestions on how-tos or any questions or anything, let us know in the comments, and we may just bring them into another episode in the future.
Yeah.
So, thanks for watching.
Yeah. Like, comment, and subscribe. See you guys later.
See ya.